What do we need in this city?
It's not rehab. We got too much rehab already.
See, I mean, a lot of you guys have been housed, and not much has changed.
Yes, a lot of things have changed.
Like what?
Look, the rehab, I don't use as much now as I ever used. I used before in Tent City. I felt more freer. Now I'm more pure because I might lose something. So I don't do it as much. Or as freely, put it that way. As much as in the open. Yeah, the program worked out good, man. Like, we all got housing. When you get housing, you get more pride. I'm proud of what I have. I want to keep it, and I don't want to take a chance to lose it. So I don't use drugs as much.
And there may have been other benefits to being housed besides a reduction in his drug use. Even early in his housing, Eddie seemed calmer and reflective, as if being housed were a balm to his mental health. And after losing his second child to the CAS, Eddie seemed well on his way to confronting his pain.
She'd get red flagged every time, man. And I guess maybe that's got something to do with the way I feel. Back then, she cost me. No, she didn't cost me 2 kids. It cost myself the kids because I didn't stop, right?
Happened twice in the last 2 years.
Yeah, the only time in my life, eh?
But you're not
for 55 years. I just lose 2 out of 12.
Hey, you want a good fellow? Randy, you gonna be good? I let you in. You won't bark at Eric? You're lying to me. Yes, you are.
It's okay, buddy. It's nice. I don't know. Someday I'll sit and talk to you.
But I ain't.
I'm the uncaring, unfeeling, whatever I am. Just addict. Don't care, don't feel about nothing. Nobody, nowhere. Anyways. Oh, wow.
But only a few months later, in his new apartment on Queen Street, Eddie was right back into it. I guess pain travels as well.
I don't need them as much because I do have this.
You,
And then,
hold on a second. In that last place you were in, you weren't using dope as much as you used it back in the street?
In Tent City?
Tent City?
No. Not when I was in control. When I went out to jail and came back, I used drugs every day. But I've also walked away and never used them for 2 or 3 days.
Bonnie was never an addict, and now housed, she works again as a harm reduction worker in Toronto. She's a proponent of alternative forms of housing.
In the winter that I was here, 40 people that were all struggling managed to, not always as functionally as we might hope, but a lot better than most people thought, gain some self-respect by building themselves their own places to live with the help of their friends. I think, and I believe, that if someone ponied up or allowed to lease the land, I believe that we could build something like Dignity Village in the US, where it's a green, sustainable village that was built by homeless people over the course of 5 years who had a vision and a dream that we could not have because we had no legal entitlement. There's traditionally on the street what's called your crew. That's your group of people that you tend to hang with, almost like a substitute family, functional or dysfunctional, that you spend your time with, you tell your troubles to. It is far more functional to allow them to be with their crew with whom they have a long history.
I was sometimes surprised when Brian and Terry spoke of missing Tent City, but looking at Dignity Village, I am reminded that there are many pluses to that kind of living, if properly administered.
Me, I had to get up early this morning because the sun came and hit directly into my house and heated it up instantly this morning. It's great in the wintertime. It's great to have passive solar.
For social services, the more dependent that someone becomes on them, the more they need them. And eventually, every ounce of their independence is sucked away. One thing about the self-housing of people in Dignity Village and Tent City was the independence of the people who were able to do that and encouraging one another's independence in building.
It's a good option. They gave us housing, which is a good deal. But some people have screwed it up too. With the diehards that were down here, some of my friends, they have a severe addiction. They got back into the drugs. They were using their houses, letting people stay there, and they got evicted over it. Now they're living back on the street. There's another tent city going on over under the bridge. People have obviously been squatting. As you can see, they have...
Of course, some people will fade out of the system. Housing has never been part of their lives. But for people with long histories on the street, it seems to me that just maintaining an apartment is a great success, at least early on. And while supplement programs are now being introduced on a broader scale, many homeless people still live the way people lived in Tent City, in new locations around Toronto.
Why is that Tent City happening?
Because there's no place else for them to go. Where are people going to go? The hostels are full, or if you go to a hostel, you get robbed or beat, or I mean, the Salvation Army, I got nothing against the Salvation Army or Seton House, they're trying, but they're the biggest crack houses in Toronto. You go along George Street right now, there's 50 dealers waiting right outside the doors of Seton House, sitting right there, smoking it and selling it. What options do you have?
Some people are concerned about the idea that people who may have addictions are getting public money for rent. I would suggest to them that even if they morally think that people shouldn't drink and all the rest, that society is going to be better off if we look after people and we ensure that people have more and more stability.
Why I do it, not why other people do it. I smoke because it makes me not hurt, not feel, not care about nothing. It takes me away.
I'm out of here.
If they really do want some people to get off of drugs, they're not going to get off of drugs and drinking on the street. The stressors are so high that it's so unlikely, so that what they're saying is basically they're giving this person either a death sentence, and they're giving the rest of us a lot of trouble and expense, putting people into prisons and hospitals and all the rest when people are so hurt in the street. So I would just say if they want people off of drugs, they want some chance of people getting off drugs, they're going to have to provide some housing and some stability. That's real life.
I feel fabulous. I mean, I'm very, compared to the last time you saw me, Eric, don't I look better and look happier than I did down there?